Here with Luke and Aislinn. I feel like you guys are the veterans of Degrassi. Does it feel weird saying that?
Yeah, especially maybe for me because I started just a little bit sooner than she's been there for so long. So for me, it's like, oh, well, where's Raymond and Charlotte and all those people that like were on the show for so long? But yeah, it's good. It's good to be a vet.
Is it strange, like, the fact that, like, now you're so recognizable, like one of the big characters on the show, and you just came in, it feels like just yesterday?
It does. In a lot of ways, it feels like just yesterday, and I still feel new to this. I don't feel like I am a senior or that I help define the show in any way. I just sort of think of Claire as another character on the show, and for most people who watch the show, she is, but there are some fans who have been watching her for the 7 years I've been playing her, and that is really, really cool to know that there's that kind of commitment and enjoyment of the character and watching her grow for so long. So few shows do that. You see that on so few shows. Most shows that run for that long are sort of cop shows where there isn't as much growth in the main characters, but for us it's all about growth. So yeah, it's been a journey.
I gotta tell you, like, I actually had to close my eyes when I saw this, like, Drew and Clare hookup. You know, it was kind of like walking in on my parents, just because I feel like it's like a brother and sister kind of thing. Was it strange for you?
I don't think it was so much strange for us, Aislinn, was it? No. We kind of saw that whole thing coming from a while back. I remember we were at the end of, I think, season like 12 or something, wasn't it? And they're like, oh, Drew and Clare are going to be running for president. And we're like, we don't see us hooking up at all. So it was kind of like a long, drawn-out process for Aislinn and I to like, oh, yes, this is what we thought, yeah.
And side note, did you ever think Drew would be the class president? Because that's one thing that I never in a million years saw coming, I gotta tell you.
Oh my gosh, honestly, I agree with you 100%. When I saw that script, I was like, there's no way that this is ever gonna happen with my concussions and just especially all the problems. And Drew's not the brightest guy to begin with, but no, being president has got me into more trouble, I think, than not being president was before. So go out for being president if you want to have a good year.
You know, when you're part of these like couples, these like isms like Eclare, for example, do you find that you become invested too? Like, is there a part of you that wants Claire to end up with Eli?
Yeah, you should see us in read-throughs. We all root for different couples, and we think all of them are great, but I think there's also the fact that I try not to become too invested in the long-term outcome, because then I forget to be present when I'm shooting the current. And if I start to think how much I wish the other one was happening, I can't sell the other one properly. So there are things like with Jake and Claire, like at first I didn't really like that, and I was thinking, when are Eli and Claire going to get back together? And then I realized how great I thought that relationship was, and also how much I love working with Justin Kelly. And the same thing happened with Drew and Claire. At first I was thinking this is so random, but then I really started to appreciate the couple because they laugh so much and they have a really good time, compliment each other, and of course I love working with Luke. So, there are benefits to all of them, and Eli and Claire are great for obvious reasons too.
You know, it's hard for me to say Drew Torres has a soulmate, but if I had to put money on Vegas in it, I'd have to bet on Drew and Bianca. Do you get that a lot? Do you still get the the Bianca people that are like, oh, Drew, what are you doing? Claire's not for you.
Right. Yeah. No. Definitely, there are some serious Dronka shippers out there. But yeah, it's weird to think that happened like very long ago in like the character's life. Even if you think at the beginning of high school, a relationship, you think you're going to be with someone, and from going from like falling in love and like getting almost being married for it's so great. Yeah, you can't even put a word to it, but he's kind of moved on now and he's been able to push past that point in his life. So
I feel like your character is like 40 years old. He's like president. He like almost got married. You had that thing with your brother. Like, there's just so much for Drew.
Yeah, especially in this past 2 seasons. It's kind of difficult to gap where you start from. And like you were saying before, especially trying to stay in the moment, it's difficult for us because sometimes we get our scripts and we know what's happening after. So it's hard for us to like, okay, how do I act through this knowing the outcome is rather good or bad, changes what you're going to do normally if you wouldn't know that, because we don't know the future. Aislinn might, but I don't.
So if I gave you a blank script and I said you can play any Degrassi character that you want for one episode that's not your current character, who would you pick?
I love these questions, but I can never answer them.
Andre's answer was the best so far. I'll tell you what he said after.
Tell me after. I would really love to play Miles. I really love that character. I think it's really interesting. And of course, I mean, if I'm playing it, I'm taking away from what Eric's doing. And I think what Eric is doing with it is awesome.
But he could be Claire.
Yes. Oh my God. What a great mini that would make. That'd be so funny.
And for you, same question?
I to be honest with you, I was gonna say this exact same answer. I love everything that Eric's done. Like that character, it's just like the cool badass millionaire kind of kid. The way it was like written in like the first entry when he walks into the school, I was like, I want to be this guy. I want to start over. He can be Drew. I want to be Miles. No, and it's cool. And obviously everything Eric's done as well. He's brilliant. He's done a great job.
And finally, what can fans expect heading into season 14?
Oh, just a continuation of that good old Degrassi roller coaster, I think. We had no idea what was coming our way. You'll get a few cliffhangers in this finale, and that'll just sort of get your mind racing for what happens in season 14. It's just so much drama, and we also tackle a lot of current issues, which I always love. Like when you see something in the news that pertains to teens, it's really likely that our writers are looking at it and trying to figure out how to fit it into our scripts. And I think that's really great because, how else are you going to find material that's really relevant?
Mm-hmm. And what can we expect?
Yeah, I think, I think one of the best things about this next episode is like it doesn't leave you on a cliffhanger of like a relationship being broken up or, something that it's used to. It's going to be something that's really going to blow your minds, and it kind of sets the whole scale for next season askew. And it's like, we're all kind of starting and picking up different pieces where we all leave off. It's really interesting.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.